Welcome to the 12th Thursday. Oh, that's right. It's Friday today.
Yeah.
Speaker, so we said, what can we do to make it up to you? And we said, let's do it Friday. So this is
Yeah.
perfect. And we get to do it in person. So we're like going all in. So this is really exciting. So I want to introduce them and a little bit. We're going to make it very, very short because I want to spend more time with our guest. Just talk about a couple quick things that we want to leave with you. Number one, this is going to be posted to our Facebook. So if you aren't able to finish watching it, we're going to be able to have it posted on the Facebook. We'll have it on our website. So there's lots of places you can go back, and please do share it with your friends. We've got a few things happening on the benefit side. Pretty quiet in the benefit world. What we're finding now is that there still is the generosity of the insurance companies. They're giving you a break on your premium. So they're doing a credit that's going into July now. So that's good news. They've lifted the restrictions on the 30-day supply, I believe, for all of them, but there may be a few specific ones that maybe not yet. So that's just a really good sign that things are looking good out there. So we're doing well as a team. We're managing the social distancing. We're happy to have him here in person and social distancing. Well, I gotta turn around. So, but it's fantastic. So yeah, we're
I want you to start talking in front of the media and be the kind of the face of the company. And I said, I have zero training. He's like, God, who cares? Let's just get you in there. And
that would
yeah,
be
you can talk good to people. And I'm like, so I got slapped a couple of times for some stuff I said on the media. But again, that was Dave's DNA. He just threw you right in. And then Dave took the path of going through the Chamber of Commerce, through the president of the Saskatoon Chamber of Commerce, and then the Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce. And, he kind of directed me to go that route as well. So, I went to the chamber routes, and then Kent Smith-Windsor was another big role model for me. Kent is probably one of the smartest human beings I've ever met. And when it comes to governance and taxation, I'd fall asleep halfway through half his topics when he told me, because I didn't understand what he was saying. And so I'd say, grab some crayons, put it on a paper, and explain this to me, Kent, because you're talking up here, and I'm here. Yeah. So Kent was amazing. And then the third that really had an impact on me was Jerry Grandy. Jerry's still a close friend today, and I just watching Jerry, who I would say was probably one of the top CEOs in Canada at the time when he was with Cameco.
okay.
And just watching how Jerry dealt with people and talked to people and little things. We went to the Y together. Jerry knew every employee's name at the Y. To see a CEO take time, he didn't have to. He's the most important guy in the building by far. You'd be the last person you would think that he's a CEO of Cameco when he's at the Y. So through those three people, that's kind of where I am today. It's just kind of, and I would highly suggest talk to them, and you can ask for their help, and you can ask for advice, and people are willing to give it.
You can be vulnerable.
Absolutely, right. And I would, I have no problem saying, especially on city council, I'll phone up business leaders and just say, hey, I'm getting this side of it from administration. I have no idea. Teach me, tell me what you think. So that's kind of where it started, and they were phenomenal, and I still call them up today to get advice. But yeah,
and you need those mentors. So you know what? You just had a great introduction of yourself, and I'm loving this because I'm going to tell everybody what you probably didn't say, but I think we've captured a lot of it. But I want to say, of course, welcome, Troy. So I really wanted to kick that off because I always look at people that have these various careers, and you always wonder when you get the story and they go to how did you do that from that to that? Like it just, you have to wonder how people's brains are wired. So, I mean, you grew up in Saskatoon. I mean, that's why you're committed to this city. So, I mean, thank you for staying here and doing all the work. So, as any atypical, I think guy growing up in Saskatoon, I mean, you lived in the west side of the city. You were huge into sports. I think you probably learned a few things just going through that because of the sports due to children.
I got beat up a lot.
Well, you learned things from that. You just learn to get stronger. Feistier is what I call it. I call it feisty. Obviously, we know him as a paramedic. So he's going to share a little bit, even from that perspective, some of the things that, you know, you're seeing through the eyes of a paramedic. So I think that'll be kind of cool. I mean, I know him also from just the days of working in the community. So we're very close in terms, we have one common charitable organization that we support, the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about that in his philanthropic move into Synergy 8. So, I mean, I just think it's wow. And then obviously moving to the city and being on the council, we all know him. He's a huge voice. We love it. We love it. You get in and then you fight for our rights.
I lose most of the votes, but that's okay.
Well, you know, every no you get, you're closer to the yes. That's what we say in our business. So just keep on doing it. Keep on doing it, man. So, yeah. And I mean, as a business owner, again, I didn't know that. I mean, a hair salon. So I think that's kind of cool. 9 years with Nicole, his wife, and your mom, Donna.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Man, well, now we can talk now on another level about family business.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, especially through COVID, it gets lots of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really what I want to say, because as we get through talking, some of the things are going to come out with respect to what we want to do and the journey we want to take. Right. So as I always like to think, you know, let's go back. Like we all want to go back and just say, what was in your mind when this whole thing started? Like what was going around in your head, and what were you thinking your next steps are going to look like?
For COVID, you mean?
Yes, for COVID. Yes, yeah. We're jumping right into COVID.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, to be honest, the Saturday prior to everything shutting down, our group, Synergy Community Builders, we hosted a wine night at Ends Lexus, and that's kind of our fall or winter event, and we had 300 people in the building.
I was there.
You know, so we were extremely lucky that we were able to hold our event, but then after the event happened, a week later when everything shut down, we heard what was happening. Now we were holding our breath that, you know, was there someone in our building or at our event that was COVID positive? Like, because this would have created a whole domino effect.
You guys jumped in fast.
Yeah, so it was, we were extremely stressed on that side. And then once we learned that we had no cases at our event, that was the first hurdle to pass. And then it went immediately into my 2 day jobs with the city and being obviously with Medivie Health Services West with, you know, from a paramedic's perspective. It changed the way that we're going to do paramedicine for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys probably had a lot of learning issues along the way, because who knew what the right thing to do was? Because we changed it a few times.
Yeah, and
right?
You know,
that made everybody a little bit nervous, I'm sure.
It is still going to change. And, you know, just speaking with my city hat on, I can tell you immediately we called in our senior leadership team. We had everybody, honestly, within, I'd say, even up to 3 hours notice. We had everybody on the line first thing in the morning.
Wow.
Mayor Clark did an amazing job just getting us in line with the province to make sure we had a clear line of communication with the province, the health authority, and you know, the health officials for the city. Our EMO was activated immediately, and again, we just started trying to make the best decisions. And the number one priority is the safety of our staff, and that was the number one priority from all the council, is to say let's make sure our staff is safe. Send everybody home. We'll figure it out. So,
and they're still home, correct?
Yeah, we have, I'd say a lot of the staff, I could see them even being at home till probably September. Not all of them, but immediately.
And we're hearing that lots now.
Yeah, you know, because it's not gone away yet, right? And things have loosened up a little bit, but, and then we made, you know, quick decisions, free transit, free parking downtown, which also had adverse effects that, you know, we found out about later, or I found out about later, from business owners who own parkades downtown. Right, so you don't see the other side of it because you're in tunnel vision to just try to get things going, and so there was some things we would definitely go back and do differently on how the city reacted. But you know, at the end of the day, I think the leadership team and administration team at City Hall were phenomenal. We still meet weekly to have our chats to make sure we're in line as to what's happening. But you know, I think that we got through the crisis side of it, and now we're in the recovery side of it from the cities, whether it's be financial, work projects. We realized that there's some staff moving forward that could probably work from home. and we don't need to have infrastructure in place for them. And I know a lot of businesses are probably in that.
Wow. Well, and although you're in a unique, you're not in the administration business, but in the hair salon, you're seeing the other side of this as a business owner, because now you're on the street having to go, holy crap.
Yeah.
What's going on now with this?
Yeah, and then our salon, you know, it was timing, I guess you call it, because we were 15 years, and so we kind of shut the doors in January, so we kind of missed the rest of it. But you know, my mom is still doing hair, so you know, luckily with the CERB payments that came into play, you know, I'll just use my mom as an example. You know, that was huge for her to have something like that to fall back on. You know, my dad still works, and they're in their 70s, and they still go hard. And
wow.
I said, "Are you ready to retire?" And they said, "No, they'd be bored." So
good for them.
So you know, those are things that you know we kind of dealt with, and you know, having a salon and having 9 staff, you know, you kind of want to follow up to make sure that they're all okay and they're all taken care of. And you know, I just talked to one of our barbers yesterday who also said, you know, without that CERB payment, they wouldn't have been able to pay their bills. So
yeah.
So kudos to the federal government for stepping up on that side too.
Yeah. Oh, there was a lot that were stuck in that, and still are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And still are. So I mean, that's, you know, the challenges. You know, I mean, I look at this and I know I'm thinking that I'm talking somewhere else, and I'm going like, what's my topic? And I'm thinking, like, it's riding this wave.
Yeah.
And you know how the wave is just like, it started up here, and you know, eventually when you get to the shoreline, everything just levels out. We're not there, but at least we're getting there. So it's feeling a little bit better, but still making people a little bit nervous. So from the paramedical side, like, wow, like what was happening there?
It was you know, not only for staff, because you're going into houses and you're going into places, because at first all you're hearing is the doom and gloom. So if you watch the news, you're on social media, you're hearing the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And I don't blame our paramedics. You know, they're extremely stressed. We didn't have the exact answers. And Medivie corporately, we've got 4,600 paramedics across the country. We own all of Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. So luckily we have that infrastructure in place where we have a strong backing on best practice, how we're going to move forward. We have access to PPE. You know, if we were just a private single company, it might have been a different story. Yeah. But we had those resources dollar-wise to get, you know, basically to order in 10,000 masks immediately for our staff. So, but then we found it wasn't just our staff; it's our staff spouses and partners who were stressed as well, because at the end of their shift, they're going home, and they're with their families, they're with their kids, they're with
grandparents.
Yeah, and
right?
So it was extremely stressful. You know, our Saskatoon Paramedic Association is the union that represents our paramedics, and they were great to work with. And again, it's still a fluid document. But now I think we're in a place where, you know, like I said, paramedicine has changed forever. You know, we're probably doing some stuff we should have been doing anyways. You know, washing your hands and cleaning your hands and making sure you're not touching your face, and then, you know, little things that, you know, I used to do as a paramedic. I know I'd do a call, I'd still have my gloves on, I'd open up the driver's seat door, get inside, take my gloves off, throw on the floor, and drive. Everything that was on my gloves is now on my door handle.
Yes.
So next, you know, just things like that.
But you don't think of it, and you've got this. It's a habit that's built in for so long.
Yeah.
You know, when people say how many times you touch your face, like it's hundreds of times in a day, and you're going, no, I didn't. I only did them 3 times, right? Because you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So,
and for like I'm in it. This is my 25th year as a paramedic. We've got paramedics who've been doing this for 40 years. Now we're telling them you have to do this differently, this differently, this differently. So not only the PPE on every call, not only the stress of change, because no one really likes change after doing your job for 30 years one way. Yeah. But you know, just going into houses and trying to communicate to people saying, you know, we can't come in until we're fully in our PPE. And we have people running out to the ambulance who are stressed because when they call us, they typically need us. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that are happening on those levels. I wouldn't say the problem's solved by any means yet, but I can say that we're a little bit more comfortable in our process and procedures of how we don, doff, how we come to work, what equipment, you know, how we change at work. We're not getting into our cars. So little things like that. So,
it's little things, but it's a lot of little things, and it's a big change overall. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just, you know, like, especially like you say, after 40 years, like, I mean, why are you telling me to change what I've been doing for this many years, right? Yeah. And I'm getting tired. I don't want to. You know, as you get older, you're kind of not as keen for change. Yeah.
So, and, you know, honesty, like our communication staff, we have a communication center here with roughly 40 staff as well. And we dispatch for all of the North. So it's not just Saskatoon. We dispatch for all these rural sites. So North Battleford, Lloydminster, up north, everything. So for the stress even on them, because you're asking callers to be honest, because a lot of people don't want to admit that they were in Mexico 10 days ago.
Yeah.
And then we get on scene, and what we were running into was people who were, we had one guy who fell and broke his leg. So we go in as a typical break your leg call, 3 minutes into the call, and to walk in the house, we find out he just got back from Phoenix 5 days ago. We immediately have to go out, don our PPE. It's 5 minutes of getting into our gear while he's laying there with a fractured leg. So it's detrimental to their treatment. So, that's the negative side.
Yeah.
But on the positive side, I can say Saskatoon, I've never been more proud to live in this city. We called it the pandemic of kindness. And what we seen was businesses to residents to just local people showing up at our ambulance base, dropping off,
Nice.
chocolate chip muffins, giving us deals, free coffee, whatever it might be. So, I think the stress on one side was alleviated a lot by just that kindness and support that we got back from the community. So, no, it was great to see both sides of that. And we're going to make a big announcement next week on how we're going to give back to the community. It's pretty huge. So
really?
I can't share it yet, but Wednesday, our foundation for Medivie is going to make a big investment back into Saskatoon as a thank you as well.
I hope there's a big party that goes with that. The social
Of
distance.
30 people.
I know. Well, we can do this on screens.
Yeah,
Everybody can join. That's how we're doing it now. So you could we'll go to the SaskTel parking lot. And we'll have a big
Brett
party.
Kissel just sold out 3 shows. So
I
it's
know,
good.
I saw that. But see, this is where you talk about that heart and soul. Like, this is what the community is. Like, in every little way, we're making differences. The audience knows about my fostering position I had with my cat. I call it my cat. And the cat's still there. The 2 babies had to go. So, and I'll tell you the best thing that, especially going through COVID, like, people needed those things. That just gave them, right? My daughter, this was her start. So it was very important because mental well-being was stressed at the highest level. You probably were right there, in the role that you play in every level, right?
Yeah, and we're still seeing that's the after effect that we've seen, the trickle down effect. Our overdose rates right now, typically in a week, we release every week our numbers, be transparent to the community in regards to our call volumes that we do. And we had 26 to 35 in that range is usually what we had last year for overdose calls. And that's anything from narcotic overdoses to alcohol to whatever it might be. And now weekly, we're up to 80. So we almost tripled the amount of overdose calls we're doing a week. We released it to the media. We're out there trying to get that message out. But, in a 10-day period, we gave Narcan 30 times. And Narcan typically is a drug we only give.
That's like a big city conversation. We shouldn't be having these conversations in small town Saskatoon, right?
Yeah, and that's scary. Yeah, that's the new stressor on our medics. Because now it's the after effect of people who are maybe stuck in their houses or alcoholism. I guarantee our alcohol sales are up about 60% in Saskatchewan right now because
how they stayed open, isn't it? But I say thank God for that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So,
wine was strong in our house for a little while. So
a lot of wine.
Yeah. So that's one of the other things that we're dealing with right now, and we're dealing with the media and with our partners with fire and police and with the city as well and our EMO just to discuss how we're going to fight this new battle.
Yeah.
Because it's there.
Well, I just, and for those who are on my private Facebook, you should go because I posted and we talked predictions of the insurance world, right?
Mm-hmm.
What one do you think's on the top?
Yeah, I could guess.
Right? It's well-being.
Yeah.
And we've always, that's how we think already. So I'm going, in some ways, this is a positive because I'm going, thank you. Because now it's bringing the accountability to be well to the forefront. I think that's a good thing, right? How many people now, we've got a beautiful city. And how many people did you see walking the river and biking and that was, when you talk about there's doom and gloom, there's your positives, right? It brought people out intact with the nature of Saskatoon. So you know what? I never mentioned 2 things. Candace is, I would have introduced Colton, and Colton, he's relaxing at the lake. He says he's working, but I think it's Friday. I'm sure he's relaxing. Yeah. But Candace was our tech gal. So, and the good news is she had it easy today because yesterday was not a good starting day for her. So
that's why I came here in person. I did it for Candace.
Yeah. And then I want to say to the audience, if there's any questions at all, we're just having a conversation, but if there's something that's on your mind, I'm thinking if Sean is not watching now, she's going to be watching the tape because Sean is always good for a question. I got a couple of actually audience people that love to ask questions, so we welcome that. So then you go like on the charitable side. It must have been tough when you canceled. Oh, and excuse me. And Candace, how many more minutes have we got? We don't want to run too late because I got 2 more questions. We good? How many more minutes have we got?
We are at.
We're good. That's great. All right. Okay. Because me doing the same as you, doing the Care for Kids, and we had and we were just going, thank you. We had it in 2019.
Yeah.
And we plan every 2 years, so 2021, right? So, but you were like, it was happening. So I imagine that made you sad.
Yeah, it's first time in 12 years that we haven't been able to host our event, and we're kind of in a little shock right now, but it was the right thing to do. We had to call it. Our event was August 26th this year, and we've already paid the deposits on all of our celebrities. We've already put those monies down, so they were great. They all signed amendments. We're already booked for next year for August 31st of 2021. And, luckily for us, we have another major project that we're working on, and maybe this is a good thing because what we're working on now is probably the biggest project we've ever done, capital-wise. and I would say it's up there for the most important.
Now you got me curious. Of course, I'm going to say
give
us a tip,
September,
but I know you won't.
We're going to announce
that would be good.
Yeah.
You guys will get a medal if you can hold that.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be tough.
Big debut.
Yeah,
oh man, you got me curious.
We're going to announce it in this September. And it's a great partnership with, I can tell you who the partners are in it. It's ourselves, the province, the federal government, Nutrien, Dakota Dunes Community Development Corporation, and Saskatoon Travel Council. So between all of us, we're gonna announce a major capital campaign. So it's exciting, and with how big this one is, it's maybe a good thing that we took a break this year because there's only 9 of us, and like I said, as you know. I add it up every year, and I think our average is we put in roughly 2,100 hours of volunteer time in order to get our event running every year. As you know, we've got all of our kids and our wives and our spouses. They work our summer events, and 73 volunteers every year to pull up our event. So so maybe it's good to have 1 year off and to move on and focus.
You know what? I mean, we were sad like Candace because we have to call it too, right? Because the difficulty for us is that. Yes, things will be happening next year, but the planning that we're not able to get in because it's difficult. Of course this is important to us, important to the, to any parent and grandmother or whatever, right? Fundraising. Yeah. And when you're stalled on that, it's like, but it's still a difficult conversation to have. So the hats off to you guys, like the collaboration. I mean, and that's what Brent had talked about when we had shared a visit, and she talked about how charitable organizations or just people that are out for what is important to them. But if there's an overlap, pulling this thing together and making it grander.
Well, and to be honest, there's a lot of our sponsors who I don't think they could even commit right now because they don't know what's going to happen with their business. And we've been fortunate enough to have a huge corporate following with our events. And, it was our responsibility not to put that pressure on them and to just say, do what you need to do to run your business, and we'll contact you next year and see if it's a fit. So there's never any guarantees, and we hope that, business can recover because, being the business guy on city council, I can tell you that if you don't have business succeeding in your city, our city will fail. And we need to rely on our business and our corporate and our philanthropists, and we need to support our major community builders in our city to survive.
Well, and your big focus is downtown.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at like all these administration buildings, this remote thing is going to have that indirect impact to that next level, the real estate downtown, right? Or is there other things? Like, what are you guys thinking about already?
Yeah. Being the chair of the Downtown Entertainment District Committee, this took a hit. We were moving along quite great and quite quickly, and I thought we were in a great spot. This is going to put us a little delayed and maybe a little bit of a detour on where we were at. But in speaking to council, and this is just my personal opinion on where I see the city going, is that we need to continue this. Like we have to move forward on a new arena down and moving forward down the road. And a lot of people say, well, you got a great arena down there, up there in SaskTel Center. We do, but it's aging. we're Class B city. We're moving into a Class B city. Scott Ford's been amazing on some of the acts that he continues to get in our building at Saskatoon Center prior to the COVID.
Yeah.
And we're going to lose that if we don't carry on. And along with TCU Place as well. The expansion there, it's an 80-year-old building. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen in there. So I think we're still in a good spot. We've got a strong plan ready to move forward. It might be delayed maybe a year as we move forward. It was passed by council on a 10-1 decision that the city move forward and buy the land for the new downtown arena. It doesn't mean the arena's happening tomorrow, but we need to have that.
There's a lot to do still.
Yeah.
Right.
And my focus, not to go too political or too city council on this, but I think it's important for everyone to know is that you can't move forward with your BRT if you don't know where your entertainment district is going to be. Yeah. And BRT is being pushed on the city by the feds. There's money there. We can move forward. We can start to get things rolling. But at the same time, you have to.
Okay, BRT.
Bus rapid transit.
Okay, see, I'll bet you some people that they were asking.
Yeah.
I asked for them.
Yeah. So, and if you go to Montreal, and I'll just use Montreal as an example. I was there 2 years ago to see a sold out concert. Shakira took my daughter. Yeah.
That would have been.
I think it was the only guy there. No, I'm just kidding. But
probably very few.
Nicole and I took Kenzie there, but I stood outside. There's 28,000 people coming into a concert with no parking. So how do you pull this off? And I stood outside and I taped it. And I just filmed it so I could prove to some of the naysayers I have that don't believe that you can have parking or having an arena downtown without parking. Yep. You do need some parking, and there's some opportunities for some parkades here, but it was all bus rapid transit coming up. It was Uber. It was people walking over. It was, people were coming in at 4:00 to hit restaurants. And the biggest thing was after the concert was over. So we're used to Saskatoon Center, where as soon as it's over, everybody runs their cars, everybody drives home, right? And how many of those people are intoxicated? We continue to see those issues as well. Yeah. Whereas if you're downtown now,
hotel,
there's so many things, there's so many options, and we don't even want you leaving the building. In Edmonton, they have 9 restaurants and facilities in their building. So after an Oilers game, they're not leaving. Half of them can stay. You can go up, you can have drinks, you can do whatever. And it's a layered approach as they leave the building. And that's what was happening in Montreal. So I see that for Saskatoon. That's what we have to be down the road.
Wow. And we've got an absolutely beautiful downtown and a river. Yeah. Like I tell people, you know what, you should be jealous because this is a beautiful city. And we should take an opportunity and grow that, right?
Well, and that's a great point. We brought in consultants who they just built the new basketball arena in San Francisco for, I can't remember, the Golden State Warriors building, which is $1 billion building. They're building the Seattle NHL arena. These are experts, and we brought them in, Saskatoon Center in the city, to just come through our city and give their recommendations on where the site should be and what it should be. Yeah. They were completely blown away by our city. They said a lot of times you build your entertainment district, and then infill comes around you. Yep. They're like, you've already got it. Yep. You've got your river, you've got your gallery, you've got a new library coming, you got all these pillars all around this. Now drop this in and you're set.
Oh, I know. Well, and I always think, when I go to a concert, and what's the experience? I'm going for the experience, right? Not just to go to the concert and come back. So, I mean, the Edmonton Stadium, is it the Stadium Coliseum?
Rogers Center, yeah.
Rogers, it's like beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? All this open floor where you sit, at your bistro tables, and you got service to the table, and you're 3 layers, you're ways up, but the way they've staged it, like, you're up close and personal. Yeah,
and
it's very cool.
They just flow people in and flow people out.
And we had a great. So Shauna, if you're not listening, you're going to have to now listen. So I'm going to make you watch this because we went to Backstreet Boys. So we bid. And I'm trying to remember if it was the Princess Shop, and we bid on I didn't. It was Sarah. I think Shauna. She goes, I got tickets to the Backstreet Boys. Who wants to go? So we went bang. And so
I missed that one. Sorry.
It was so much fun. But the experience, we got a hotel that was closed. And of course, it was a Cavalier chain. I mean, it was like, this was what, and we went down and walked the street, gave the patrons, some money for a couple of beer.
Well, and the great thing they've done at Edmonton is we stayed it was the Stratton Hotel. We walked through catwalks. So we walked 3 blocks just through catwalks up top, and on the way you're stopping. There's a BP's up there. There's a Tim Hortons. There's So you haven't experienced. You're not even going outside. It's minus 40 outside. It doesn't matter.
I know.
You're not even taking a
And as
jacket
we
to the
get
game.
older, trust me, I start to hate the cold more and more.
Yeah.
Right? Mosquitoes and cold. That's getting older. Okay, so this is good. I'm trying to think of a few of the things that I want to make sure we talked about the acts of kindness. I think that was kind of cool. I mean, elections are coming up in October, November.
Yeah.
So
People are going to get really happy with everybody knocking on their doors.
It's a lot going on right now. Like, I mean, now you're asking people to make another decision.
Yeah, the province is going October 26th, and then 2 weeks later, you've got the city, you've got the school boards, you've got everybody going at the same time, right? So that's going to be interesting, especially with the COVID. Do I want to open my door to someone who's knocking on my door that I don't know or whatever it might be? So
yeah,
I think a lot of people are going to find some challenges on the whole election process this year. But I think it's important. You have to keep your governance and you have to move forward, and you just have to find a way to do it. So,
like everything else, everybody's pivoting.
Yeah.
Right. And if you pivot once and it's not working, you're gonna have to just pivot again, because it's a little bit of trial and error right now on what's working and what's not. So we're all growing up from childhood together again. We're relearning a different life.
Well, and I was asked about this yesterday by one of the CQM I was talking to just offline, and they said, what's a positive that you've experienced personally from this? And I just said, when you think about it, this has forced all of it, for me personally, this has forced all of us to slow down a little bit. And during that 8-week period where you were essentially locked in your house, I played cards every night with our daughter. Like, I taught her crib. My grandma taught me crib, and we never would have had time to go through crib and do that. And, my wife taught her cooking, so now she's cooking and doing that stuff. So it was just the amount of family time and board games.
I mean, actually,
Battleship. I had her doing old school Battleship, and had doing.
I hated that game, actually.
Yeah.
I was more into the quick ones. I had a little ADHD, so I was like, we had to there's got to be a win and a loss, and then win and a loss, right? So, so I can handle even payday. That's okay.
Yeah.
but there's another one, Risk.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that game either.
Too long.
Too long for me.
Too long, right? So, so if we were talking about, right with today, going to the end of the year, going for another year after, what do you guys think? And maybe there's a couple of different perspectives that you have in terms of what you see the next 6 months and a year and 3 years looking like.
Yeah, and we're going to slowly work with the province on opening some things. Council made it clear that we needed to open some pools. We needed to get back to some normalcy. I know some other cities have decided to. Yeah, and what they should be, and you can't expect the city administration, especially with their budget, to have people working there and cleaning hands. The onus has got to go back on the parents, and if you want your kids, if they're going to go to the playground, you have to. It's a new way of thought. Is just like you put a seatbelt on when you get in the car, you wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You don't touch your face, whatever it might be. So.
Yeah. Oh, Michael's got a question, and it's for Troy. There we go.
Can we make that bigger?
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
No, that's good question. What assistance is provided to your paramedics in coping with the challenges of the job? That's a great question. Our corporation actually moved forward with, it's called the Beacon, and it's a program that was set aside that's completely confidential for any of our staff to call forward on when they're having any mental health issues. And we launched that to all of our staff across the country, and immediately we had 85 staff sign up, which was actually quite shocking for us.
That's really good.
2 of the staff, because it's all confidential, actually had to take the next steps to get more intervention happening within what was going on with them. So it was caught by this program, and it's something that we wouldn't have had before. And so for our corporation to put that in place, mental health is a huge issue that we're seeing with paramedics. And back when I was starting, at 25 years in, even 10 years on the job, if you were to admit that you were having any problems, or you had a bad call, or you were, to be honest, you were seen as weak, or maybe you shouldn't be, you shouldn't be in the job, or you're a wimp, or you're whatever. And now that we still continue to, because I had mentioned before, we have 40-year paramedics or 30-year paramedics, we still struggle to make sure that we're identifying when they're having problems.
Yeah.
So we've actually made all of our staff take, it's an R2MR, it's like a low level, it's a starting level for staff, because really when you look at a paramedic, a 12-hour shift for a paramedic, you spend more time with your partner than you do your spouse.
Yeah.
And they know you better than anyone. So just give our paramedics the tools they need to understand, okay, I'm starting to see this. I need to intervene here.
Yeah.
And if this doesn't work, I need to have steps to move forward. And we never had those in place before. So I wouldn't say we're completely there yet, but I'd say, this has really pushed us forward on that.
I have a great book that you should share, and I should give you a copy.
Is there a movie version? No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, but you know what? And I was going to
I
show
do
you.
enough reading in city council.
This is easy reading. That's
Okay.
the kind of font we're talking.
Big font, all
yeah,
right.
big
Yeah.
font, right?
Triple space.
Exactly.
Nice.
But they call it the coping crisis, and it's by a doctor. And he just had I just watched another webinar, and he's got another book out. And I've read it, and I'm seeing him speak, and it really talks about the importance of those tools to create that resilience. And I think we're all, especially now, I don't think we really understood how important that was. Now, everybody understands how important it is to stay healthy mentally and physically, because my other book says the monkey mind is going to set in.
Yeah.
Right? And the anxiety and the worry and all that kind of stuff. So great on you guys to work the Beacon program at its ultimate, because that's what you want. You want to catch them there. I mean, again, in our business, we see that. We encourage, especially now, all of our clients to pick up an employee assistance program.
Yep.
There's some government networks and there's safety nets, but they get a little bit busy too. So we just need to make sure, you want that care when you need that care.
Yeah.
And then they'll identify whether it needs to go to those next levels. And we can't be embarrassed about that anymore.
Yeah, I think the
Right?
biggest thing for us is the environment of openness, that it's okay to come forward.
Yeah.
I had a bad call that bothered me for 5 years, and I didn't even realize it. And then, you have side effects of whether you're drinking alcohol or whether you're stressed or you're snapping or whatever it might be. And, now we're in that environment now. And I think it's going to be proved to be more effective for the safety of any new paramedics coming onto the job.
Yes, absolutely.
If you watch our TV show that airs every Wednesday on City
I've
TV,
seen a
you
couple.
will you'll see the stressors that they're dealing with.
Oh, yeah. Well, I watched one of your colleagues a couple of years back at a pension benefits conference that was here, and he was on a panel, and that's when they were talking about, this would be 2 or 3 years. I think it's only 2 actually. Anyways, they were talking about, that's when we were really getting into bigger conversations about mental well-being. It's been around, but it was like they said, out of 2 talks, it was always one on mental well-being, right?
Yeah.
So he spoke on the panel, and they talked about cognitive behavior therapy, which is a tool that you use through your employee assistance program.
Yeah.
And how it helped him because, like he said, you don't understand the trauma of seeing that thing every day. You kind of just block it out, and then the monkey mind sets in, right? And it starts to remind you of all those things you wanted to forget.
Yeah. And
Right.
paramedics are the worst, because
Yes.
we're used to grabbing you, to treating you, and then dropping you off the hospital, and then call's over, move to the next call, right?
Yeah.
But what we don't realize is that call's still lingering in your mind down the road.
Yep.
Right. So
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So are we good for time? There's no more questions. How are we doing?
10:40.
10:40. Wow.
there's a lot of hot air coming from this guys.
You know what? No, we've known each other a long time now, and I find it. I always watch with this circle of all of us that we're all kind of doing our things, and there was a little bit of overlap, like the brand to you and then you to us, and you just kind of get this network of this thing going in the city, and it's quite cool. I think that's what we missed. I thought that's what the hardest at the beginning was, the social piece.
Yeah.
Right? When everything stopped and I couldn't get out, and when you're used to that, and even though you make that part of your job and you don't think of that need to have that contact, I think people in sales are probably getting like really, like they want to, like they can't keep doing these meetings on Zoom because they're right.
It'd be tough, and even for teachers, just because my wife works in the school division, every day talking to students on the screen, right? My daughter dances 5 days a week, and she's doing virtual dancing. And I
am so glad I didn't have to grow up in that.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, it was tough enough in my world when they changed to the metric system. Because now half of my world is in like I'll say inches, and then I'll say meters. Like I haven't sorted out which one I want to talk about yet. Right? Pounds. I always stick to pounds, not kilograms.
Yeah. Me too.
Right.
Well, and the grade 12 farewells, I felt horrible for those students, because I remember my grade 12 graduation.
I know, and they were doing the walk down the street, and I mean, good kudos to the people. And that's the other thing that's coming out of this is innovation.
Yeah.
Right. Creativity. It's like, you know what? If you can't do it that way,
figure it out.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what? There's always an answer, and if you don't like that answer, find another one.
Yeah.
Or try another one. Yeah, so there again, you look at some of the things that are going on, and I think that's a really, and I think now when you guys on city council are sitting back and thinking, what do the people want, right? I think you're going to see some different conversation going on.
Yeah, they're already happening.
Yeah, I think so, because
we'll call them debates, maybe not conversations.
I mean, because I'm thinking differently. I'm thinking of, I got a chance to walk all the, I probably hit every inch of this river, right? And I would take different directions and get different experiences. And going down into the trails, like if anybody knows, like on the river, it's safe and it's beautiful. And you go down, not on the street, and you can go down one level. You can actually go down to the bottom level, and you walk so much of that river.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, that was just like the best thing ever, right?
Yeah,
so I'm thinking, let's explore more outdoor.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see that more, to be honest. And the great thing about, and I'll just give a shout out to my colleagues on city council. We disagree a lot, and we've got a pretty good split there.
That's what family's supposed to do.
Yeah, but I can honestly say, and I've lost a lot of votes, 6-5 on council. But at the end of the day, I don't lose any sleep over it when I go home, because I know that the 11 people who are involved in city council they love the city, first of all.
Yeah.
They're making their decisions based on their love of the city and what they believe in. And I can live with that. If it was something for the wrong reasons and I'm losing those, then I have a little bit tougher time. But at the end of the day, I think we've got everybody cares about the city, and I think that's what's important.
Yep.
So when our biggest issue, I was not laughing because I've again lost the vote, but when our biggest issue is bike lanes downtown, and that was the number one issue in our city for honestly 2 months.
There was a lot of chatter on that.
If that's our biggest problem, we actually live in a pretty good city.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly that.
But I was still mad. But
well, you know what? I'm seeing a lot more social outing space, right? More like if you're sitting in your backyard in a patio kind of a feel, right? Can you imagine walking down the river and they could be the stone, maybe comfortable, but just having design more like a couch setting.
Yeah.
Right?
And
with a round table in the middle, and then you can
if you look at the new Shakespeare in Saskatchewan, that's exactly what they're building there. So
yeah, we're part of that. We're excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's quite cool watching it across the river, the structure.
Yeah, they've got a lot of community support. And again, campaign chair, one of the co-chairs, Jerry Grandy, right? It just continues, could move anywhere in the city, anywhere in the country, and he chooses to come back to Saskatoon. So it's a thankful for us, and even as a city councillor, that he's here, because he makes some pretty big contributions to the city
and a very positive impressions.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and to your point when you said before, you don't have to. You can be just that person. It's just that people enjoy talking to you, and there's just that passion, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more than that. There's not no sales pitch. It's just a belief.
Yeah.
And it pours out on other people. So I mean, that's what you say. Like I always think of the years of even just with empty ambulance. When I was in my days of calling businesses, I mean, I'd always call Dave Duchak. And I just got to know him, just because we started networking and doing business functions and things like that.
Yeah.
And he was always taking a part in something, And then we worked a little bit on with the to the chamber, your health opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. And then we did
2020 and
and some of the investment and the big picture, right? I mean, he kept saying, we can have that highest level of care right here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he still has that conversation.
He's a dreamer.
Yeah.
He still thinks that the Leafs are going to win the cup.
Well,
I'll send him this video.
I wasn't even going to tell you if that was a good comment or a bad comment, because I know nothing about the sport. So there, you're safe with me.
Yeah, hockey fans will know what I'm talking about.
Oh gosh. Well, I think that I've asked a lot of questions. I don't know if there's anything I've missed that you want to share with us.
No, I would just share that we have to continue to work together, and I'll just reiterate, we have to find a way to make sure that businesses stay in business and that local businesses continue to thrive. We can't lose hotels. We can't lose our businesses downtown. We can't, anytime I see a business close or even hear that they're in trouble, it just, I just get that eerie feeling, because once that starts happening, that's when your city's in trouble.
Yeah.
So I think if everyone just remembers, it's easy to hit Amazon and hit click and get it delivered to your house, but when you've got someone struggling to keep 4 people in the city employed, that's what's going to save our city. So I just finish off by saying, shop local, support local, and take care of each other.
Yep. And I agree wholeheartedly. And, because you brought up Google and Amazon, I'm going to probably have my inside voice talking now because I think what they should do for the millions and billions that they've made through all of this is give up a few millions and billions to the community. To give it back to the
They're
charity.
from Saskatoon.
Support the charitable foundations that they need that. That's why we do what we do. Because they need that. And as Ben will say, they're frontline, workers to the community. We need them. You've got to. So Amazon and Google write a really big check. And
when we hit 1 million views on this video, they'll get that. So
and it better. It better. Because I'll tell you, heart and soul is like pretty cool when you get it. So there we are. We'll see what happens. On that note, I want to say, Troy, thank you so much. And I'm so excited that we actually got to sit together today and have a chat. This all worked out for a reason. So I think it was absolutely, and I was like kind of nervous at the beginning because he's like wearing this like fancy suit, and I'm just thinking, I don't think I dressed well enough today, so I had to keep the jacket on.
No, this is.
Sure, you can, sure. Oh, Cliff Wiegers, hello. He's from the lake saying hello. So.
Sorry, can you see
I can see it.
Yeah. You see?
Says Troy, thank you and your Synergy group for making such a huge difference in our community and your contributions to City Council. We will see you go further in the city politics to mayor or on the provincial or federal scene.
How come we didn't mention my singing ability?
Just kidding, Cliff. That's right. And that is right. A man with many hats. There's the other one. Because Cliff and Troy have something in common. And that was a desire and willingness to dance.
Yes, he's a former champion, Swinger the Stars.
Both you guys got like honor medals. Like I
think I'm 2014 and Cliff was 2015.
He had three. He had probably the start.
Next year,
and then the next one because he won the popular vote. Then he had to start the show. Right. You did that. I remember you did the Big Jack and the. So I'm trying to remember the Shaggy. Anyway, and then Cliff had to do it again because then they changed it.
All Stars.
And they had So that's a lot of practice, man. I'll tell you. People that had to be working out for that event, they would have been starting about right now, and that would have been their hobby because they had all the time to dance now.
I thought I was actually not bad, and then my wife videotaped me my session or whatever, and we were a month out, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't let people see me like this every day for an hour. I had to drop like 15 pounds, and I was stressed out, and I was just like,
and sore feet. With sore feet, he had to finally change the shoes the second time because his feet were killing him. Haven't spent that much time. Right, moving around and
we did well, Cliff.
Kudos to you guys.
You're a champ.
Kudos to you guys. Well, let's just keep doing it. Let's keep pouring that love back into the community. So, thank you again, Troy. For those again that are listening, share it with your friends, and it is taped on our Leaders Financial Benefits Facebook. And Leah's going to go to our website again. Yeah. So what I do want to close by saying, I'm taking a little break over summer and I'm going to super enjoy the outdoors. So I'm looking forward to it because now every time I get outside, I have a harder time coming back in. I'm that gal that can sit till like 2 a.m. at my fire pit.
If we can get rid of the wind, we're set.
We're perfect. That's why you got to stay up a little later. I figured that one out. So I'm going to just relax and enjoy, and then we're going to come back in the fall. And we're going to resume, some type of format that would be similar to this. I really enjoyed it, and we will be able to do more of the one-on-one. I think it'd be great for my friends and partners that can't come to Saskatoon. We do it on Zoom. So thank you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful summer. Stay well, stay healthy, and most important, remain optimistic. Have a great day, everyone, and great weekend.